Okay, we are live. Finally, we had a couple little technical difficulties, and we are live with Gina Monetti again. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? Back on. Now you can see my face.
I know. Yeah. Okay, so what we're doing, for those of you that are joining us, is we are doing what's called a redo. We tried to put this together the other night, and it came out good. We stayed on the line for quite a while, and we got a lot out of Regina. But she was on the phone and we want to see her. Yeah. Now we're going to see her and get a little bit more story of her life, and we'll kind of finish it up. Then we'll go delete that one, and this will be her. This will be it. So I think we can begin now. So welcome. How are you doing today, Gina?
Here we go again. I'm doing good. Hopefully my family doesn't come crashing in here. I can hear them outside running back and forth up the hall.
It's isolation time. I'm watching these newscasters and the kids are walking by, and it's cool. I mean, we're not like all pro now. It's all just cash. So let's start with where we began, which was, now this is this history channel, of course. So where did we begin? And before you begin, though, let me just say something. For those of you that are going to stay with us and maybe listen to a little bit of bodyboarding, if you'd like to make a comment, we don't see who you are, but we see your comment. So if you could just put your name behind it, that would help us so much. So, and if you'd like to call in, we're going to take some call-ins a little bit later. All right, so let's start with, where did we meet?
Where you and I met was at a Maury Boogie contest at Steamer Lane in Santa Cruz. It was when you were living in Lake Tahoe, I believe, and I don't know why you were down in Santa Cruz, but you came down, and that was when I first got to meet you, and I think Arlo was with you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I had no clue who you were. and then I don't know if you explained to me or somebody else did that you had been the one that promoted bodyboarding for Tom Maury back in the late 70s and early 80s, and so you're the mama of the sport.
Mama. Well, that's good. And I do remember that. It was really nice for us to come down out of Lake Tahoe and have a moment at the beach, because it was about a 5-hour drive, and it was like, it took a long time to get down that hill. But, can you imagine coming off the mountains and coming down to Steamer's Lane? Oh, it was very, very nice.
Well, I don't know if you remember the waves. That contest were really good.
Yeah.
There was some size. It wasn't huge, but it was some nice size. And I think that was my first time riding there. And the way the rides were just so long and wonderful. Yeah. They couldn't clear the water, of course.
No. I don't know. I did one event up there. This is before this one, but there was a guy, actual surfer out there. They did not like that LA came lane, Steamer's Lane, and most of them are hardcore surfers. This is like way early on in competition with bodyboards, boogie boards. It was all boogie boarding. And this one guy came and paddled over on his surfboard and took Kevin Klein and started choking him. I mean, literally choking him in the water. And we're all up on the beach, and I'm on the PA system going, dude, stop it. And these guys are walking over trying to break this guy off. I mean, that's how bad it was.
It was still bad. I think it was 1985 or 86 when we were there. It was still that guy with the van, no contest, that guy, all that Steamer Lane stuff. But it didn't matter. Once you caught a wave, it was so good. Just those tons of cutbacks and 360s
nice wave, really nice wave. And that was my territory. I went from San Diego to Santa Cruz, so I went up there during the Maury Boogie days a lot. So it was wonderful. So that's where we met. And then you went on to compete, I guess, that you were full on into competition then?
Yeah, I had already been competing that whole year. I don't remember the date of that contest, but I started in March of 1985, or maybe it was March or April. I got back from my honeymoon, so it might have been early April. The first contest that I was in was a Scott Hawaii contest in Newport Beach. Chris Seagrave at the time, Chris Wagon. Hi, Chris. She's the one. It's her fault. She got me into competing. She worked at Lucky's on the peninsula in Newport Beach where I lived, and she's there's a contest this weekend down at 28th Street, kind of just north of Blackie's in Newport Beach, and you should come and compete. Well, I don't have a bodyboard right now. I got mine stolen right before I got married. Oh, you can use mine. So I used hers, and it was an old black bottom, if I remember right, one of those Roy Boogies with the black bottoms, and I think it had skags on it, and I didn't even know how to do 360, but I knew how to ride the waves because I'd been bodyboarding a long time, and I did the contest, and I have, I think Tina Merchant won, and Chris got second, and I got third, and I don't remember the other girls that were in it. It might have been Diana Chavez. I'm not sure.
But the thing is, you got in there, you started competing. Did you fall in love with competing?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
it was fun. It was nerve-wracking, but I thought, well, if I pray before I go out, okay, Lord, let us have fun. Keep us safe. Let the judging be fair. Let us serve to the best of our abilities. Yeah, and that's what made it fun. And then also, you get to know your fellow competitors. And the girls and the guys, they all became, we all became a circle of friends. It was like that before I started competing, I'm sure. And it was just a great excuse on the weekends to go hang out with your friends at a beach all weekend long.
Yeah. What a life, huh?
It was. It was awesome.
Now you went on to travel too. I remember, like, after that first interview, Marcos, from Brazil, he came and posted a picture of you. Did you go down and compete in Brazil?
Oh yeah, in 1988. So I was 23. Yep, 23 years old. Mm-hmm. Bliss International. It was a like a Nestle a Nestle company in Brazil wanted to have an international bodyboarding contest. And so they invited the top guys and the top girls that weren't Brazilian to go. And at the time, I was the top in the mainland U.S. Chris and Kim was the top women in Hawaii, and Mike Stewart and Keith Sasaki and Ben Severson, and the five of us got a paid trip to go to Brazil.
You were traveling with some serious royalty.
Oh my gosh, I was pretty enamored. Oh, I mean, I had met them all before, and Chris Ann, I had got to know her in Hawaii the year before at the Wahine contest, the Mori Boogie Wahine contest at Sandy Beach. She is a sweetheart. So I was super happy to get to go travel with her. And then John and Jan Thomas, they used to run the Mori Boogie contest in Hawaii on Oahu. They went too. And, it was just a great group. Keith is always fun.
Yeah.
And it was nice to be with, my heroes, Mike and Ben and Keith and Kim, or Chris Ann, Kim, sorry. Yeah. And that was an amazing trip. When we got there, bodyboarding already at that time in Brazil was big stuff. So when we got off the airplane and you got jet lag and you're exhausted, especially me, I don't sleep on airplanes. The news media was there filming us for the news in Brazil.
Wow.
And I had no idea that it was huge. And then the contest in Barra de Tijuca was like, the big one they have in Huntington Beach, the big surfing contest. It was like that. It just masses of people, and like it was a huge national event, sporting competition. It was crazy.
Dang.
And the Brazilians were so nice. In my first, there was like 56 women competing. We never have that here. We'd have 2 heats.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I didn't know if you knew about that contest.
Well, Larry told me that he used to fly home and that, no one knew who he was, but if he was traveling with any of the girl bodyboarders, that in Brazil, female bodyboarders ruled. It was kind of like that way with Japan, remember? Japan was like that too.
Yeah, they came a little bit later, but the Brazilians, the first time I saw one competing was Glenda Kozlowski at Sandy Beach. Oh, really? I think it was 1987, 86 or 87. It was the first Mori Boogie Wahine contest at Sandy Beach. Fortunately, she was in the 17 and younger division. So I didn't have to compete against her because I was 20 something. Because her and Shawnee Oide were in the 17 and younger, so I didn't have to compete against them, but because they were good. But then the next year, a bunch of Brazilians came to the Wahine contest. I didn't even make it out of my first heat.
Wow.
They had no fear, and they hit the reef. They did all sorts of crazy stuff.
Let me read. Well, let's put this up on the screen.
Joe.
Regina is the highest quality woman I have met in years. My only regret is that I left the sport before having the chance to surf with her. We met the first time 2 years ago in Cabo Reunion. I am stoked to be interviewed and talking about her history, gate drop. So, like I said, put your names in there when you post, if you don't mind, because then we'll know who it is. I bet you that's Chris, though, don't you?
No, that's Joe Evans.
Oh, is that Joe Evans? Oh,
yes, okay. Yes, oh, okay. Joe. Oh my gosh. I love Joe. I got to know him on that trip to Cabo. I had heard of him, of course. He was one of the first pros. You need to interview him.
Oh, definitely.
He was one of the first pros, and so
you didn't come on tonight, because of the computer glitch, and I saw him over in the chat room. I thought, oh, maybe Joe might want to interview. Oh no, he might not be ready, and it was a long story. But yeah, Joe is a great.
Joe, you better get on here with Patty sometime. But Joe was so encouraging and so nice in Cabo, and so fun to surf with and fun to hang out at meals and everything else that we did. He's just a really nice guy. It was good to get to know him. And then also he and Tony Prince took pictures of the event, and Joe got some of my favorite pictures of our surfing there. So he took so much time to take pictures and then go over all the pictures and make them look nice. Anyways, he was super.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that reunion, what was that reunion for? Was it a reunion
Well, there's been some bodyboarders, some of the old school bodyboarders going down there for years. Cameron Steele, I think, is the organizer of it, and they just go down every year in the summertime, and I know like Rochelle Perry, she's been going a long time, and I know Jay and Vicky go, and there's been times in the past where Pat Caldwell and JJ Caldwell have gone, and Keith Sasaki goes, and Tony Prince takes pictures.
So that sounds like a wild. What is it? A week? You guys go for a weekend?
Oh, like 5 days. It's a reunion of all the old pros, all us old.
Well, the younger people that watch this, they appreciate that, I think, because we got some stories. There's a lot of stories like that. There are a lot of things going on, like Guilherme, when I was talking to him, he's got the knowledge of Portugal and Canary Islands and this and that, and I don't know, it's pretty cool to listen to some of the reasons why everybody gets together. And so now you go down, and that's basically what you're doing. So when would you say your your competition time stopped? Was that, what year was that?
I think it was 1997, because my daughter was 6 years old. She started on swim team, and I started having to miss her swim meets for my competitions. And hi, Debbie. It's your sister.
Really? How do you know?
Because I have Facebook on another screen up. So
that's what I should do. That's good. Okay.
So yeah, that's your sister.
All right, great.
But
anyway, you can interview too.
Yeah, you need to interview her for sure.
Yeah, she's
the Mex.
It's not her. It's like I'm trying to get her, and it's like Andrew just did a great interview with her, Andrew Everett, on her career in Custom X, and but that's not her favorite thing to do. So.
I understand. I used to not like to do this either, but I've gotten used to it because of the job I had. But what I was saying was, when I quit competing, it was because my daughter was starting on swim meets, and I was missing her swim team. And there was all my really close friends that were the part of the reason I kept competing and going to the contests. They weren't competing anymore. So there were all these new girls I didn't really know. They're very nice. I've gotten to know some of them over the years, and they were starting to do multiple roles, and even some of them were trying ARSs, and you know, I was getting older and I wasn't doing those things. So so I just felt like it'd been 12 years I competed for. So I thought, yeah, I think I'm done now. And it was starting to stress me out. The last 2 contests I did, it wasn't fun anymore. I was just so stressed out. And I'll tell you, when I quit competing and I didn't have to go out in tiny, crumbly waves on a bodyboard anymore, I could actually ride my longboard on the smaller waves. And then on the good days, I could take my bodyboard out. Oh, it was such a relief.
I bet. Yeah. Well,
but the years of competing were so blessed, and I had so much fun. Yeah. And I'm so glad I got to be part of that and part of so much of all of that. We talked about that in the other interview.
Yeah, you know, one thing I always like to hear from people is, do you remember that actual moment when you took off on your first wave on a boogie board? I mean,
can I show you a picture?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna share a screen. I'm gonna share a picture.
Okay. Yeah, is this your first ride?
Well, sort of. Okay, can you see it?
I have to turn it on.
Oh, okay, put me on. Okay. So this is my dad, and this is my little sister, and this is me. I don't know how old I am there. I might be I don't know, 6 or something. We're down in Ensenada, Mexico. That is a styrofoam board, right? I'm holding. And this is probably the oldest picture I have that has to do with boogie boarding for me. There wasn't boogie boards yet, because this is probably like 1970 or something.
Yeah, that was the first one. Yeah.
But that's the same as a boogie board. And I had been out that day riding waves on that thing and loving it, because I was a good swimmer early. And so that wasn't the start, but it was that's the earliest picture I have. I have another picture of me sitting on my dad's surfboard when I was about 3.
You have that? You can see it to put it in the video.
No, I don't think I have that one. But anyways, so I'll stop sharing that. That was But whenever I first rode a wave on whatever it was, probably a styrofoam board, I loved it from the beginning. I mean, there were all I ever wanted to do my whole life, pretty much from 3 years old, was go to the beach and ride waves.
Stop.
Oh, you have to turn your volume down.
I did. So I want to see the comments too. So yeah, this one on a group will not. I don't know, maybe for some kind of reasons it won't let you put group comments. But anyway, so that's cool. I'm glad you put that in there, because that's really cute. And that kind of started it all, because like for me, it was rafts. That started it all.
Wait, say that again.
A raft.
Raft. I rode those too.
Yeah, and so I remember we used to get them over there in Hawaii at Branicki's in Kauai, and Marcia and I would body surf and then go, and with a raft on a wave that just like a Sandy's wave that just crunches, and you try to ride it and you kind of don't know what you're doing, and you take off, that crunch, the raft will bend this way, concave, and then you bend, and then the next thing you know, you're going, oh, ouch.
Hey, you mentioned Marcia Mori. Can I share another picture?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Put it up.
I got it all ready. Cool. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
So this was at one of the bodyboarding reunions at T Street. I can't remember which one it is, a couple years ago. And in blue, right there in the front on the right, is Marcia Mori.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she lives here in San Clemente, or at least at the time she lives here. I met her out at Linda Lane one day, which is the beach by my house. There was this lady body surfing, and she was just ripping.
Wow.
And and I was out there body surfing at Linda Lane too. And we were talking, and then we came in the beach, and she kind of looked familiar because I know I had met Marcia Mori at some point in time. And I said, "What's your name?" And she said, "Marcia." I said, "What's your last name?" "Marcia Mori." I'm like, "I know you."
Yeah.
But this is a couple years after that, and she was with us. This is one of the bodyboarding reunions at T Street, and I love this picture because right behind me. Oh wait, let me do it like this. There we go. Right behind me, right there, that is Tina Merchant. The first contest I was in, she's the one who won. And then wait, where's Chris? Oh, there's Chris. Chris Seagraves, Chris Wagon now. She's who got second place in that contest. And then there's Rochelle Perry right here. And there's I think that's JJ. Caldwell, who's married to Pat. And there's Linda Reuter, who at the time she was Linda Marks or Linda Good, and then Debbie Bradbury, and there's Jenna Metzger. By the way, this girl right here,
serious female royalty there.
Oh, big time. And Kayla competed too, and what's her name? Monica, I think. I know they competed later on, and I can't. Oh, that's Vicky. Vicky's important. Vicky Real.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, but this girl right here, Jenna Metzger, in 1986, when she was 12 years old, we were competing in the Maury Boogie Nationals, and I had won the year before. I had won the Maury Boogie Nationals, which was, unbelievable.
Right.
She was 12. I was 22. She won. At 12 years old, she still is so good. So anyways, I'll stop sharing that picture.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, that you got some good stuff there, good memories, and that's awesome. So then you go on, but you were in the BIA though, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you were in the BIA.
Well, we were doing BIM, and then you started you started Bodyboarder International Association, the contest that had to go with BIM. And you explained before you wanted it to be for the pros, but also for the recreational bodyboarders. And remember, you talked about the postcards. We'd put the pictures of the BIA riders that weren't famous in the magazine. Yeah. How much fun is that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then, that's right. You're bringing it all back. So you actually in the BIA became one of the all-stars. What was that like?
Oh, that was kind of like a dream come true, I suppose. I mean, I already had been through, that was later on in my career. And I'd already had, sponsors and all that kind of stuff, but just to be on that all-star team and to go through all those interviews to get accepted on the all-star team, it was quite a privilege.
Well, let me just bring the people that might, there's a lot of people like Larry and I were talking about the 5 generations of bodyboarding. Like, let's say from, you got the 60-year-olds, the ones that are like almost 60, of course, myself, 74, but you got the first generation, you got the 50-year-olds, you got the 40-year-olds, you got the 30, and then under 20, which would be all the 7, 8-year-olds. And a lot of those people on that under 20 are really fascinated with vintage boards, vintage stories. So I just wanted to bring, in case someone happens to be watching this channel later, that the all-star team was an idea that I wanted to have ambassadors out there in different areas spreading the good, gospel of bodyboarding. And that's why we vetted these all-stars so hard, because we wanted them to not only be a good rider, but they had to be able to speak in public in case they got asked to speak somewhere. Just like somebody on a baseball card. That's what I thought. Here's these little. Yeah. So Regina was one of them, and she was from the South team. We had Southern, Middle, and then Northern was Santa Barbara, Jill Stubbs and Jacob Reeves and all those people.
Do you remember what I said earlier about why part of the reason I competed so long is because it was an excuse to hang out with all my friends at the beach all day? Well, the all-star team was kind of like that
Yeah.
Right? Didn't we have a good time?
Oh, I mean, see, the thing of it is, when you look back, particularly someone like me that's seen it from day one when I was out on the beach with people that had never seen a boogie board before, including myself. Like when Tom said, go ride this thing and tell me what you think, I'd only ridden a surfboard and a raft. So when I took off, I do remember that first wave because I was going left and it was down on Maple Street in Carlsbad, and I took off and I went, oh, wow. I mean, I can remember my eyes were like, I was getting between the wind and the wave and my eyes just kind of laughing so hard. I can't even explain the experience, but I do know that at that moment I was hooked.
Yeah.
I was totally hooked. And I was going to tell Tom, yes, I do want to go to work for Maury Boogie, because and so I think like when people ask me, like some of the stuff that you did, that you followed in the BIA and stuff that I did, BIM. Oh, we got to go over that too. BIM it was from that love of that first wave, it was a hook. It just like literally hooked me. And I love hearing stories like when people get hooked like that, because it can do it to you, as many of you know that watch this.
Hey, you mentioned Tom. Can I show one other picture?
Absolutely.
It's a special one.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, nice. That must have been at one of the reunions. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago. So these two were the girls at my first contest. Tina and Chris, and then Rochelle. She competed against. I met her probably my second or third contest, and she competed all that whole time too. And we all got a picture with Tom, and he was so excited to be with the girls.
Oh gosh.
Hi, Chad. that was a special moment for me. And then I don't have the picture, but the next year I had my granddaughter with me down there, and I got a good picture of Tom with my granddaughter.
See, well, that's the kind of stuff. That picture is the kind of stuff that people look back on. That are young, and just realize, wow, this is like several generations have grown up with this, this excitement of seeing Tom in person. It's like,
oh yeah,
the guy that started the Stoke.
I mean, how special is that picture? Every year that he's come down to that bodyboarding reunion at T Street, I always make it a point to just, even though I said it before, thank you so much for inventing the boogie board, Tom. And got to get a picture with him. And then he always, we always have a conversation about something or other that goes deep, because Tom.
Oh yeah, he goes deep. Yes, absolutely. Well, you rock, just like it says there. This picture I have up on my screen has a whole collection of girls, and you probably can go down the line and tell us who they all are.
Actually, oops, they're T Street women. Not all of them are bodyboarders, though. Some of them are wives of bodyboarders. I think this was the picture for the calendar. There's a local couple, Celeste and George Bodyboards, and every year she would make a calendar with pictures of all of the T Street people and give it for Christmas presents to us. And she would try and get it, come down there on such and such a date, we'll take pictures. And that was a picture of all the ladies.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's really cool. So let's go. We kind of went ahead and then backwards because we went to BIA, because BIA was circa mid 90s, and BIM was started in 91. But the whole premise of BIM was, Bodyboarding magazine had folded. It was the middle of a recession. I didn't know what to do. People said, help, let's do it. So we got Wave Rebel, helping out, let me use his office, helping me get ads and stuff like that. But I didn't want to do it alone. I wanted to, because like publishing companies will get some bodyboarders, but then they got the salesman, or they're totally sales, and then the publisher. I wanted a magazine that was built by bodyboarders, So I figured, and not surfers, folks, bodyboarders.
No.
So I you know, since some people had called me from San Clemente and said, hey, you should do this. You just work at a graphics company. So anyway, I asked Regina, Pat,
yep,
Jay, Kirk Blackburn, George B. Norino showed up every once in a while, Debbie Caldwell.
yep.
Did I miss anybody? And we would meet once, I thought once a month, but
it might have been, but maybe sometimes more often. I can't, that was a long time ago, 1991.
Yeah. So, anyway, my point is we got together and picked these photos. So my big thing was, you know, I wanted the cover to be amazing. And so Regina would put her input and reason why she liked that cover, and Pat would, you know, and everybody. And then we would kind of go, oh, it seems like the consensus is, you know, Robbie Crawford's going to be on the cover or whoever this. But we got so many good shots because I was convinced that we paid the photographer on time and not in 6 months. So they were sending me all these photos because they wanted the money right away. So the minute we selected it that night at the BIM nights, we called them BIM nights, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You come into BIM night and I was telling Regina, you know how like when you have something like that, you usually will have like some cookies or, you know, coffee or punch or something. I don't remember any food. I remember it being hardcore. Let's load this carousel up with slides and let's put the slide up on the projector and let's pick a cover and then we'll go home. It was serious, excuse my language, it was serious stuff.
Thank you for being polite.
But then I thought maybe there might, you know, it was some serious stuff. So
keep it G.
So
yeah,
now,
no.
Go ahead. Now you pick it up from there.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, no, we would have a slideshow, and you know when you show radical bodyboarding pictures to bodyboarders, you know what they do? Woohoo! Yeah, look at that one.
Yeah,
we did that, and we were picking pictures for the magazines.
Yeah, so it was quite an honor for me to have met Regina a long time ago in San Clemente, and then to have it come up full circle, and then have her participate in all the BIM nights and her input, and then like, you know, so many people in bodyboarding that we don't even aware of, like Jay Reel and JP Patterson and Pat Caldwell. Regina was like an incredible writer. So not only did she get to pick the photos, but she you know, got to write some of the stuff. And yeah, that was pretty awesome.
It was a privilege for me. I had written a couple of articles for Bodyboarding magazine when that was still being published. That was such a privilege. And then when you started your magazine and I got to be on the staff, not just a contributing writer, I was the senior editor. Wow. Yeah. And I wrote an article pretty much every issue. What a privilege.
It was awesome. So I've always felt a very awesome feeling for Ms. Monetti because she really rocks. So what do you think about maybe if we could get someone to call in and ask you a question? Would you be into that?
If they want to call.
Okay. Well, I'll put the number up here, and then if they want to call in and just ask you a question or reminisce or walk down memory lane or whatever, then go ahead and do it. And we'll put you up. You don't even have to say your name if you don't want to. And while you're doing that, let's see if there's anything. Is there any other photos that you want to share?
Yeah, actually. Okay. So bodyboarding, you know, Tom Morey thinks boogie boarding contributes to a lot of things in life.
Right.
A lot of good things. And I'm going to show you one that it does.
Okay.
I'm getting the picture. So do you remember the mascot at the BIM meetings? The baby mascot.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That was my daughter. Right. Oops, wrong screen. Right there, Tatiana.
Right.
That was the baby mascot. She still bodyboards. And this is her little daughter, Daisy, with one of my old trophies. It was a trophy from one of the contests where they made little tiny bodyboards and they put plaques. Plaques on. That's one of those, and she plays with that thing. She loves it. She's not riding waves yet unless it's with us, but she loves the beach. And then
let me move that so we can see it better. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Let me move that banner so we can see. Oh yeah, that's
there it is.
cute.
That's my granddaughter. She's almost 3 now. That was last summer. But because of bodyboarding, that brought this guy into our life. His name is Colin, and he loves bodyboarding. You were talking about the younger generation. He follows it, and he loves, and he's really good. And we met him at T Street when we were there all day one day.
Oh wow!
And he and his friends were sitting by us, and my daughter noticed him, and he noticed her, and they've been dating now for 10 months.
Oh,
and he's going to be really embarrassed by this. Colin Mancaruso, but he loves bodyboarding. If I say anything about going longboarding or supping, or anything else in the ocean like that, he's like, oh, traitor, only bodyboarding.
Oh wow, he's hardcore.
Yeah, he's hardcore, and he's a waterman. He goes spearfishing and lobster diving, and he brings it to our house and he makes it for us.
Oh wow, what a score.
Totally. Yeah, we love him. So, but bodyboarding did that. Brought those two together. Yeah. My daughter and her boyfriend.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question. Let's look at it. Can you share a story? Oh, it's from Jim. Okay, so he registered. That's cool. Can you share a story of the best waves you experienced in Southern California? Where was it? Oh
my goodness. There's been
a few. I don't know what you're going to answer, but I'll go ahead and see what you say.
Oh, there's been a few. You know what? Honestly, I'm going to have to say, the best ways are when you're having fun with your friends. But there was one day I was down at Lowers, and it was in the winter. So it wasn't your regular Lowers break, and it was kind of foggy and not perfect conditions, but it was big. I don't remember how big, and there was nobody out, like 1 or 2 people out at Lowers. And I'm sitting going, I don't know, it looks kind of weird. And this guy on the log I was sitting on said, why would you not go out? There's 2 people out at Lowers. I went out that day, and I caught probably one of the longest rides of my life. I caught it at the point at Lowers and rode it all the way past the telephone, if you know where the telephone is. It was a long ride, and nobody out, didn't have to fight for any waves. So, I've been bodyboarding since the 70s, so I have a lot of wave stories. But that was one of them, and for whatever reason, that's the one I'm thinking of right now.
That's cool, because I thought for sure you were going to say T Street, but
I've got lots of good days at T Street.
Yeah. That's a great.
No, T Street's a terrible place. Don't ever go there.
Well, the thing of it is it's kind of like my sister got involved in like sea glass, and they don't tell any of the spots, and it's kind of like surfing. You don't, where's that wave? Like I did a video right when the isolation started, before they cut us out of the water, and I put the video and I scanned it, and I go, okay, this is a little secret spot down in Oceanside, and someone says, I know where that is. And they put it in the chat room. I go, no, that's not where it is. No. Don't be. It wasn't either. I said, don't be giving it away. But anyway, so that's great. That's a great question, Jim. Thank you for sending that in.
Yeah, I wish I could go out at Lowers right now. Nobody's out there.
Oh, really?
It's closed.
Okay. Oh, it's closed. Yeah. Well, they're opening up the beaches, so you never know.
When?
Well, they opened up Jacksonville out in Florida.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Well, if everyone behaves, maybe California will look at it and say, okay, because I know Guillermo was telling me last night that they're in Hawaii. They're kind of like, So,
are the beaches open in Hawaii?
I think they are, but Jim's saying Huntington is open. That's what I heard.
Yeah, Huntington and Newport are open.
Yeah.
I went out at 40th Street. I think it was the second day that San Clemente was closed.
Yeah.
I went down, and Linda Reuter and Colin, and I went out at 40th Street. We had a good time, and I was grateful.
Yeah. Well, I think like for those that watch this video later, because most of the stuff I'm archiving, they'll wonder what we're talking about. But then if they realize it's March and April of 2020, while I'm doing a lot of these isolation videos, they'll realize that historically that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we can't, they're closing, everything's closed so that we don't spread the virus, the COVID virus around. But yeah. My opinion is that I think closing all but the most crowded beaches, I think, is a silly thing. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, there is like the day that I saw the last day out of everybody, Oceanside and Coronado were the only two beaches still open. So I know a lot of people heard that and they came up, because when I was doing this video, I mean, there was like bumper to bumper, you know, surfers out there. And then the lifeguards went by and kind of told everybody to kind of distance themselves so you could see them kind of not
yeah.
see each other. So if you're paying, you know, 5 cops, because I've seen them, because I drive down the beach every day, you know, telling people to get off the beach. I just go for a drive to get my little negative ions and everything. But, you know, the thing of it is they're paying all those cops. So if they only have to pay a 1 lifeguard boat, it's probably cheaper, you know, to just let everybody go out in the water. But, you know, Regina, we don't know. You know, this just hasn't happened to us before. You know, you can see why some people are fearful. You know, because
sure.
we don't know. And then we don't want to make a mistake.
No, I know. I'm not joining any of those protests or anything, but we should talk about bodyboarding anyways.
Yeah. But I mean, well, the thing of it is it's affecting a lot of bodyboarders, and that's why I wanted to do that, because this is kind of historical, and that is part of the essence of the soul of a bodyboarder is their love of water, like you know, your love of water and water boarding and any kind of boarding out in the water. So, yeah, I do think it's a big part of it. And I feel bad because I'm over it now, but I know that feeling when you kind of chomping to get out in the water.
Oh, I'm chomping. I'm chomping. Actually, I'm going up to Newport tomorrow, but it's I don't know if I'm going to get a surf because I'm going to have my granddaughter with me, and I won't have anybody to watch her. So we're going to go up and enjoy the beach in Newport though, and
that's good.
At least get some salt water on my skin.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, you know, bring me up to date as far as, did I leave anything out?
Oh, let's see. Well,
I wanted to just kind of duplicate what we talked about, because that particular video is going bye-bye, and this one I wanted to just make sure.
Well, just a couple of things just for history's sake. 1985, I won the Maury Boogie Nationals. Okay. 1986, I was privileged to represent women's bodyboarding at the U.S. Surfing Championships, and I won, which was amazing. It was like winning $1 million in a game show. I was so excited. So, you know, that was the beginning, the first year and a half of my competing, that those things happened. And I just kept competing. And I started a club called Pacific Women's Bodyboard Club back in the 80s. And it was just all things bodyboarding. It was a women's bodyboarding club, but we let the guys join us too. We had some good times. Right. Yeah, and just promoting the sport, you know, not in a competitive way, just a fun way. We'd have outings and stuff. And then over the years, I've taught a lot of people how to bodyboard and surf. But and then when I got to work for Maury Boogie, that was really cool, you know, at their events back in the 80s. And then when Women's International Surfing Association added women's bodyboarding to their events, that was really fun. And then WSA added women's bodyboarding to their events, so we got to do that. And then the BIA came along. Well, BIM came along, then BIA, and then you know, in the early 90s. And then when we were involved with the BIA, you had come back to the sport, started the magazine, started the BIA, and you know, you were always giving accolades to everybody, and we decided we needed to give some accolades to the mama of bodyboarding, you. And we made that plaque that made you cry.
Oh, that's why I wanted to do this over, because I kind of got emotional in the last video.
Oh, I'm going to make you emotional again.
No.
But yeah, we made a plaque for Patty, and we gave it to her at the end of one of the BIA contests down in Oceanside at her home beach, down in the amphitheater. And she didn't know we were giving it to her. I'd written an article about her history with bodyboarding and put it in the magazine, and then we copied that onto a plaque and gave it to her. And we all just wanted to show her our appreciation, because I mean, she was the one who first promoted bodyboarding in the late 70s, and then she came back and was trying to promote it again with with Bodyboarder International magazine and Bodyboarder International Association contests. So we just wanted to make sure she understood we appreciated her. We do. We still do, Patty.
Oh, well, thank you. I really am enjoying this History Channel because it's fun to talk story,
Always.
And
we could talk for 5 hours, I'm sure. But
and that's the whole thing. And sometimes I don't know how, that's how interesting it is to, other people. But like, you said, let's get back to bodyboarding. Well, Guillermo and I were talking about running last night and go-karting and all this stuff. And people were like, oh yeah, I remember the running. And, because that's who you are, are you're a very special person, but your own uniqueness is, exactly who you are. So, add that one, Gina. See, I get to type back here. I get to do all
I know you're in control.
Well, let's just put it this way for all those that are watching. We have a mutual admiration and the utmost respect for all things bodyboarding that has appeared in your life, in my life. And let's just let it go at that, because, it's kind of like, it's like, what else can I say? So, last final thoughts. We're almost up on an hour, which I knew we would do. Any final thoughts?
We just got to keep on bodyboarding. It's just so much fun. People used to ask me when I was in my early 40s, do you still do that surfing thing? And I'd be like, what? Why would I not?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would I not? And I'm going to tell you a story about my neighbor, okay? Because it's just the Stoke.
Okay.
So they built a house next door to my house in San Clemente, and a family, two sisters moved into the front unit, and one of them, her name is Patty. She's not on Facebook, but I will have to show this to her. I finally got to meet her one day, walking up from the beach, from Linda Lane. She had her wetsuit on and her bodyboard. I don't remember if she had fins or not. And we started talking. I was walking up from the beach and we were talking. I'm like, we should go sometime. Let's go out there. So we did. And she was more into walking out with her boogie board and riding the whitewash straight in. And she's same age as me, maybe a couple years older, so she's in her 50s. This was only, I don't know what, 4 or 5 years ago. So we were both in our 50s. And she just loved it. And she did it on her own. She didn't need anybody else doing it with her. But we went out one day at Linda Lane, and I showed her how to get the rail in on the board, and go down the face of the wave instead of just going straight in. And she was just stoked. She was like, whoa, this is awesome. And then I said, you know what? You need to go with me to T Street so you can catch one of these faces and ride it for a long ways. Because remember that the beach by my house, usually the waves are kind of walled. You don't get to go very far. So I took her to T Street, and everybody was so nice to her at T Street, and they accepted her. She's a local there now, but and she got to ride some long face rides there, and she's been totally hooked ever since. And it's really cool because I walk out on my balcony in the morning. She's sitting out on her balcony, which is close to mine. Hey, you want to go bodyboard? Yeah, let's go. And then we go. It's so nice. And so it's like a cool thing that we share. And it's just the whole bodyboarding thing is just,
that's neat. That's a great
blessing.
Well, it's fun when you know that you've really introduced somebody to something and it's stuck, Yeah.
So
that can be something you can, lay your head down at night and go, oh,
Yeah, and then she went with me on the Cabo reunion.
Oh, she did.
and she didn't know how all these pros were going to treat her and stuff. And of course, they were, you know, just, they loved her and she loved them, and she had the best time. And she got to ride those awesome waves that we rode that trip where the waves were really good.
Yeah, she has stoke. You know, that's, people like to be around people that have the stoke. You know, it's like,
yes, she does. So that's bodyboarding.
Thank you for sharing that, and thank you once again for coming and sharing your life and bodyboarding. I know that a lot of the young girls that, you know, showing that first little picture with your dad and that little styrofoam board, you know, that's how you get started. And if you're a mother and you want to just get a little, start like that, you know, just push them on the wave. And we do have to start over. We talked about that. It's time for us to get the fifth generation out in the water and get them stoked, and then we'll watch a resurgence of the sport. I mean, I just know it. So just get the kids out. You got your little granddaughter out there now. So, you know, she's the fifth generation.
Yep.
Your granddaughter, and she's got a little, you know, one of those little boogie boards that we're giving away as trophy. That's awesome.
I know. She stands on it too, on the sand. It says she's surfing.
Well, so Gina, I know I'll talk to you soon because you know, we're in isolation, but I want to thank you so much for the time to spend with me and walk down memory lane and let people share some of your successes. I really, really appreciate you coming in, and I thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. And I can't wait to see you in person and give you a big hug.
Ah! All right. Well, thank you. So if you are interested in maybe perhaps, you know, allowing me to interview you, I would love that. I'm actually looking for a couple people that that are out there. If you don't mind, one person, if you could kind of contact me, that I really want to do an interview with, is Ryan Hardy out of Australia. If you know him or know how I can get a hold of him, that has been a request for me to interview him. But in the meantime, stay with me. We're isolating. We're having fun with everybody online, and I hope that you can sit back and enjoy some time with other bodyboarders that I'll be able to bring to you. So once again, thank you, and we'll talk to you on the next episode.